How to start selling physical products on Amazon Marketplace, and how much does it cost to start Amazon FBA business? These are great questions, and we will get answers from our guest today, Lem Turner from Helium 10. He's a brand evangelist of this company. He will show us how you can find good opportunities of physical products to sell on Amazon using handful of Helium 10 tools. Helium 10 you can use for free with some limitations, but if you would like to sign up and try more of their tools, check the link below and coupon codes which will give you discounts lifetime or the first month if you apply them in the checkout. And now let's jump to my conversation with Lem. Hello Lem, it's nice to have you here. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do and how do you help Amazon sellers?
Yeah, so first off, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Lem Turner. I'm a brand evangelist here at Helium 10. I work under Bradley's team where we teach, train, give a bunch of demos to all sorts of Amazon sellers and users of all levels, whether you're a complete beginner or you're all the way to like a 9-figure seller. And we help you utilize our massive plethora of Helium 10 tools to leverage those to maximize your Amazon business to reach whatever goals or needs that you have for your business. So I do a lot of that, just sharing a bunch of content, which is why I'm here today, and hopefully we'll be able to provide some really awesome tips for you guys to pick up on.
All right. And actually, while we are recording this interview, Helium 10 is preparing for Sell and Scale Summit, which is happening in Las Vegas in September 19-22nd. And if you want to go and meet, probably Lem will be there and the whole brand evangelists team from Helium 10. Check the link below to get your tickets and get more information. And now I would like to ask Lem a basic question. Yeah, so how to start selling on Amazon without money? Well, maybe we need some money, but could you give us a little bit, set the mindset for the people who are searching for these answers?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like you said, you need some money to get started on selling on Amazon. But how to start selling on Amazon? I think first off, the biggest thing is to set your expectations, right? Selling on Amazon is not a millionaire by day 30 type of journey, right? But however, it is the journey to financial freedom based on whatever your definition of financial freedom is, or it's the journey to maybe an extra $5,000 a month, or you just want to be able to pay your phone bill or your mortgage, whatever it is. That's where you have to kind of set the expectations and make sure that they go along with your goals, right? Because it's not easy to be an Amazon seller. Helium 10 makes it easier, but it's not easy to be an Amazon seller, because if it was, obviously everybody else would be doing it. And money doesn't necessarily grow on trees, but we offer the best education possible for Amazon sellers. And so that's probably the first thing, is setting your expectations and making sure that you understand what are your goals here. Is it just to learn and maybe bring in some extra income at the end of the month? Is it to have the next biggest Amazon brand on the market and get to $1 million? Whatever it is, make sure that you have those things ready in mind, so that when you go across this journey, you can go ahead and get started.
And before we jump into a screen of Lem, where he will show how you can use Helium 10 when you want to start selling on Amazon, Lem, could you give us an overview what Helium 10 in general provides, even for free, for Amazon sellers? I think there is a course and probably a lot of tutorials, right?
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that Helium 10 provides for free. Of course, there are paid plans, which we do highly recommend you do, just because they are going to offer you the best bang for your buck. And you definitely have to look at it as an investment in your business, right? An investment in your education that is going to have a massive, massive ROI, especially if you're looking to compete on Amazon with other Amazon sellers. You have to understand that a good chunk of Amazon sellers also have software solutions similar to Helium 10, if not Helium 10 itself, that they're leveraging. So you want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success. But there's tons of free stuff that come along with Helium 10, such as courses that teach you maybe A to Z how to start a private label brand. There's also courses on how to use Helium 10 itself. We have tons and tons of videos showing you in-depth and kind of more broad overviews of how to utilize our tools. We do webinars that you get exclusive access to. We do Q&As. You have all sorts of information such as those things. And even if you just get started with the free plan at Helium 10, you do have free use, limited, but free use of tools that you can utilize for product research, keyword research, so that you can go ahead and get a little taste of what Helium 10 has to offer. And then once you move to a paid plan, you'll really start to see the knowledge and the breadth of education really start to grow and grow.
So let's jump to your screen and see what tools could be really useful for beginners who want to start their Amazon FBA business.
Here is our Helium 10 account. It is an actual account that shows real sales. This isn't like a demo one. Looking at our tools, you can see we have so many. We have a ton of different tools here, and that go in specific areas like product research, keyword research, listing optimization, analytics, and then there's even more features within those tools. But if I'm going to be honest, if you're just starting off on Amazon, you don't need all these tools. You don't even need like 5 of these tools. You really only need about like 2 or 3, and we're going to run through that today. So the most popular one that we have here at Helium 10 is Black Box, which is product research, of course, because if you're going to be starting and selling on Amazon, you need to sell something on Amazon, right? That's how you make money. That's how you bring in the big bucks. So the question then becomes not necessarily how do I start selling on Amazon, but what will I sell on Amazon? That becomes the new question there. And that's where we're going to click on Black Box and get a interesting, go on an interesting journey of discovery here in that area. So what Black Box will do is that you're essentially going to be putting in filters, which we'll run through in a second, putting in filters to say, I want to find product opportunities that do X, Y, Z in this and have this amount of revenue and this number of reviews and et cetera, going through the filters. And then Helium 10 has the largest product database when it comes to Amazon products that it's going to apply those filters to pop out all these different products that you can look at. And then from there, you're going to have the mindset to see what seems like an opportunity, what seems like things that I can capitalize on. And you're going to have to be creative and understand that it's not necessarily like, hey, if you put in these filters, boom, you find a product that's going to make you $1 million. No, not necessarily. You're going to have to do the validation journey of validating opportunity and mitigating risk. Because of course, we want to make sure that we come across a product opportunity that's going to be the most successful. So let's walk through that journey here. You can see we have a ton of different filters here, but you don't necessarily have to use all of them, but we'll walk through some of the more common ones and why that is pretty popular. So of course, first off, we're gonna get started with a category. There's tons of categories on Amazon, but we're just gonna try to find a random category that's pretty big. I'd like to look at, if I'm just starting off, try to look at something that you're interested in, right? I'd like to go home and kitchen because I like cooking. I like being in the kitchen, but I want to see something that's more like auxiliary to that, not necessarily kitchen and dining, at least for my interest. This is just all these filters or the reasons why I'm using these filters are going to be a little bit subjective based on my own needs. So we're going to click on home and kitchen. Let's choose that. Then next, we're going to be looking at review count. Now, of course, I don't want to find products where the top seller of this niche or products in this niche or in category have 20,000 reviews, 100,000 reviews, because if I'm launching a product, I'm starting just from 0. So I got to find niches or areas where I can be successful, even with a low amount of reviews, and be competing with others that only have maybe a couple hundred. I like to use 500 as my maximum for review count. And then going one step further, I want to look at products that have 500 reviews or less and a maximum review rating of 4 stars, which means that on average, they have 4 stars or less, meaning that there's something that indicates, or from consumers that they left reviews that indicates that maybe this product isn't the best product, which is going to be awesome for us when we do analysis later on, which I'll show you guys how to do, of finding opportunities where we can make the product better, right? Because of course, we're not going to, when you're looking for a product to sell on Amazon, you don't want to sell a me too product. You don't want to sell the exact same product as a competitor, right? You want to sell a product that has a big product differentiator in terms of maybe quality, function, or it's just you do stuff better for the product that customers want but aren't getting from the competitors, which is where we're going to look at the reviews in that case. Then looking at other things, maybe we're going to look at variation count. We're going to do a max of 1. Now, the reason why we do that is because we don't want to see listings that have a whole bunch of other products in there. We just want to see listings that on their own, the single product, it does a certain amount of revenue. Getting to revenue, we're going to be looking at products that maybe do a minimum of 7,500, right? Because again, we're just starting off. We're not going to try to find products that do a minimum of 500,000 because depending on your capital, we don't want to launch products that go into niches that are making $500,000 in revenue, because in order to compete with those type of sellers, one, they're going to be more saturated, and two, they're going to have a lot more budget to compete with you on that. And unless you have $50,000 lying around, we probably want to get started with a slow and smaller area in terms of revenue. That way we can get to learn things, we get our feet under ourselves and start to understand how to be an Amazon seller and how to leverage these tools. So just starting off, we'll put a minimum of 7,500. Now, in terms of price, I touched on budget a little bit earlier of like how much capital you have. In order to really pursue a Amazon launch, you can start with really a couple $100, but is that recommended? Not necessarily, because at least minimum, you want to start with a couple $1,000s if you want to scale. And if you do get traction, be able to keep up with that traction, rather than if you only have a couple $100, you start selling, but then you run out of inventory and you have to buy more and it takes you a while to get that inventory. You don't want to have to do that back and forth. So in terms of price, what we like to think about it in like a really simple rule to look at is the rule of threes, right? Of whatever the price is, the cost of goods around that area should be around a third or less of that price point. So if we're looking at a price point between $20 and $40, then, and if I buy 500 units of it, which is a decent amount to start with, 500 units to 1,000 units. So then if I have a third of 20 is around like $6 to $7, multiply that by 500, then you're going to need at least around like 3 to 5 grand, right, to get started. And same thing with the 40. If it's $10, you multiply that by 500, then you're going to have to get started with around like 5 grand, 5 to 7 grand, around that area. So just the price point alone allows us to understand if it's within our budget. So then that's where we're looking at. And then of course we want to look at listings that have a max number of sellers of 2. And the reason why that is because sometimes there are listings that people are doing retail arbitrage, which is just a fancy term for buying stuff in person or online and then bringing it to Amazon and flipping it for a higher price. And we don't want to see listings where it's just a bunch of resellers on that listings. We want to see listings that are private label brands, that are sellers like ourselves who have found a manufacturer, made a brand out of it, and launched on Amazon, and they're the only seller of their specific brand, because those are going to be the ones that we mainly want to compete with, not the resellers. And we don't want to bring in any random name brand products that we're going to see that you typically do see with resellers. So now just double checking to see if I got all my filters that I wanted. And the last one we'll do here is listing age. Now, a big thing to understand in Amazon's algorithm in terms of how they rank products within search results is that they take in the age or how long a listing has been there on Amazon into huge consideration. So we don't want to be having to compete with products that have had a 5 years or like 60 months ahead of us to be able to be on Amazon, build their presence, have the algorithm give favorability to it. We don't want to have to compete with those type of listings. So we want to compete with listings that are relatively new and in a niche that seems to be relatively new, because then it allows us to be able to get more market share and get a more larger piece of the pie in terms of the revenue within that niche, rather than if you have a bunch of like old brands that have been there for years, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. So we're going to do listing age. We're going to do a max of around 12 months. So I feel good about that. So then from there, we get moved to the fun part and click on search in the bottom right here. Now we have our results that are right here. So now here comes the fun part. It's looking to see if you recognize any unique opportunities, right? And then this is where you're not going to necessarily get a good one right off the bat, but we're just going to kind of like browse through and see if any of those stick out, right? So seeing some cube closet storage, that's not necessarily unique. Face down pillow, that could be something. I'll open that link into a new tab. We'll look into that in a little bit. We have storage bins right here. And it's not necessarily unique. We're looking for more unique type of product opportunities, because if you find products that are pretty simple, it makes it really difficult to introduce a product differentiator into that, which again, that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that our product, that whatever product we launch is going to be different enough. It's hard to reinvent the concept of just like a normal pillow, right? So that's what we're kind of looking at here. This, okay, we have a digital clock, but then with electronics, typically recommend to stay away from that, at least for your first product. This one, Pampas grass. Okay, this looks interesting. And keep in mind, all these products, they fall in line with our requirements of filters of, hey, they're at a certain price point, they're getting a certain amount of sales, they're getting a certain amount of reviews, you know. Looking at that area, have toilet sword, interesting. Okay, that's pretty unique. I've never seen a toilet sword before. So we can look in that. Okay. We have around 3 that look pretty interesting. So let's browse through them. Here, because like right now, what we're going to do, we're going to look at the listing and we are going to try to figure out how much opportunity is there with this listing right off the bat. Right off the bat, I see that this is a 2.9 out of 5 stars. That's like really bad. That's not very good in terms of product review rating for a product on Amazon. If I go back to Black Box, I'm looking at what's the sales for this product. I can see that it's priced at $26.69, which is not too bad. It's getting around almost 400 sales per month and making around almost 10 grand per month for this product. A product that has 2.9 stars and makes almost 10 grand, meaning that means 2 things. One, that people are still willing to purchase this product despite that it has bad reviews, meaning that if you were to launch a product that has 4 stars and almost had better quality, but had pretty much everything else the same, theoretically that you should be doing better in sales if you have 4 stars versus 2.9, because sellers are going to compare that. But what it also says is that there is a massive need for this type of product, that customers are willing to purchase a product that only has a 2.9 out of 5. Despite people seeing this, they're still willing to purchase this product because I guess that there's not enough products that fulfill this need. So that's definitely something that sticks out to me a good amount. Then we're looking at the images. We're just trying to see, these images seem good. Do they seem pretty all right? The first image, it's okay. It's like the quality is not the greatest, you know, it's a little blurry. Looking at the other images, okay, see it says comfortable, wearable. Okay. Looking at this, all right, it looks very medicinal, I guess, which could be good or bad, you know. Trying to see if there's ways to differentiate. All right, images aren't too bad. They could for sure be better, but this looks like I did it in like Microsoft Paint. So let's try to see if we could easily introduce better images. But I do see that the ratings were really bad. All right, so what's the other tool that we're going to look at is the Helium 10 Chrome extension. It's free to install. You can install it, but you get so much opportunities to be able to do stuff directly on the listing. So one of those things that we can do directly on the listing is called Review Insights. So we're going to click on Review Insights, and what it's going to do is pull all of the reviews on Amazon. So instead of us scrolling through all these reviews to see if there's any common themes or phrases that come up, we're going to go ahead and pull it for you with Helium 10. So what I'm going to want to do first is look at the ratings. I want to see what are some of the most common things that people are saying within the 1, 2, and 3-star reviews. I'll apply that. And I'm going to see all the top phrases. Not comfortable, People use it for eye surgery. Okay, that's good to know. Not comfortable, stay inflated, hold air. Seems like they have air concerns. Then I'm going to look at some of the top helpful reviews. Helpful reviews is, while we only have maybe like 5 negative reviews, 17 people found this review helpful. 9 people found this review helpful, meaning that people are looking at these reviews and validating that, wow, I am basing my decision to purchase based off this. This was helpful, which speaks volumes, right? Because that means that there were 17 people that either bought this product and validated that, yes, this is poor, or 17 people that saw this review and decided not to buy because of this, which speaks volumes, right, about this product. So now we're looking at this. We can see it says the part where you place your faces is very uncomfortable. My chin hurts. I had my surgery. It's very disappointing. Complete junk. It lasted 4 hours until air started leaking from it. Deflated instantly. Didn't have instructions. Do not buy. Does not stay inflated. Okay, so it seems to be the 2 biggest concerns with this is comfort and the ability to stay inflated, which that's kind of like the 2 top things that this product needs to accomplish, is for it to be comfortable and that it needs to stay inflated, right? Because you're sleeping probably after you have surgery. But it's crazy to see that they're still doing $10,000 in sales, even though the negative or critical reviews say that it doesn't stay inflated and it's not that comfortable. So at least for me, that seems like massive, massive opportunity that we could be diving into. Looking at some of the other products here. Okay, I see this one has a 4.1 out of 5. So we wanted ratings that are sometimes 4 stars or less. So automatically, I'm going to take this out of the equation because it seems like they're doing stuff pretty decent. So I'm going to take that out of the equation. Helium 10 probably just messed up pulling that information in. Looking at this tool, I see 3.5 out of 5. Okay, not too bad. I can tell that they have a lot of content here within their listing, right? Their images are pretty decent. That's not the best image that you could possibly have, but thinking about toilet sword, I don't know if that like looks the best or if you want to sell a product like that, but okay. See, that's the biggest thing here. Patent pending. So that means that you can't necessarily introduce a product that already has a patent with that. So automatically, we're probably not going to try to compete with this type of product, because if it's patent pending, that means that they are already in the process of owning the design, and we don't want to have to compete and go through that whole process, especially if we are just starting off. So we're just going to nix that.
Can you explain why we shouldn't compete with the patent pending products?
Yeah, a patent pending product just means that they've come up with this specific product design, and that they're filing a patent, which means that they have the complete rights to this specific design, and that nobody else is allowed to make a product with the same design. So then if you try to either still bypass that and still try to sell a product, you're opening yourself up to legal action from that brand, who may be willing to go after you with a patent lawyer, as well as Amazon takes it very seriously when a product has a patent, that they will remove your listing. So unless you are willing to put in the time, effort, and money to make sure that your product is similar, but not so similar that it doesn't violate the patent, highly don't recommend you do that, especially for a beginner seller. So this is the product we're left with. This seems like a pretty cool opportunity. Let's go further to validate this process. So the next tool we're going to look at is we're going to try to see, all right, I see that obviously this has $10,000 in revenue and it has really bad reviews, a pretty poor review rating star. I want to know, what are the words that people are searching in Amazon that are driving the sales for this product? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on the checkbox right here. I'm going to click on Run Cerebro, which what Cerebro does is all you do is plug in an ASIN, which is like a UPC for Amazon. You're going to plug in an ASIN, and it's going to pull in all the keywords that are attached to that ASIN in terms of what keywords when they search for this, or what keywords do this product show up for. So that's what's really interesting, which is what we call organic keywords. So these are all the keywords that are related to this product. Now, there are some things that, there's a lot of filters here, I do want us to pay attention to. Number one is because again, we're trying to find opportunity here. We're trying to validate opportunity. Is I want to see what's the balance between organic keywords to sponsored keywords. Typically, if a good brand will have like a 3-to-1, 2-to-1 ratio, or between like a 3-to-1 to 2-to-1 ratio of organic keywords to sponsored keywords. It shows that they have a decent advertising presence. Here they are indexed, which means that they show up for within search results on Amazon for around 1,000 keywords. They only have 21 sponsored keywords, which shows me that there is an extremely low advertising presence for this product, meaning that they are clearly not maximizing their presence on Amazon, because to truly scale and grow your business on Amazon, it is absolutely a pay to play type of marketplace. So just right off the bat, that's a big differentiator and a big opportunity that if you were to introduce even somewhat decent advertising, you're probably going to get more sponsored keywords under your belt and show up and get your product on more eyes and get more visibility for your product. So that's something that's interesting to see. Now, of course, we see the keywords. We have around almost like 1,400 keywords. That doesn't necessarily do anything for us. That's a little too many keywords for us to kind of look through. And plus, these keywords, maybe they're showing up on the last page of Amazon for, or the fourth page, or the top of the first page. Amazon will prioritize keywords that when somebody searches for it and then buys this product, that they convert the most for on the top of page 1. So those are the keywords that we want to see, which is what is necessarily more so called organic rank, which is the placement of where your product shows up within Amazon search results. There's around, at least for organic rank, there's around 30 organic positions in Amazon search results per page. I'm going to do within the organic rank filter, do organic ranks 1 through 15, which just essentially means I want to see keywords where this specific product, shows up for on the top half of Amazon, because that shows that those are the majority of the keywords that are driving their sales. We're going to click on apply filters. So we break it down from around 1,400 keywords to 95 keywords, right? That's pretty insane. But even then, that's still a little bit too much for us to look at. And I can see based on the search volume, which is just the number of times this keyword is searched per month on Amazon, some of them are really low, like post eye surgery, it's only searched 10 times per month. That's not a decent keyword. We want to see something that's searched at least a couple hundred times per month. So I'm going to put in my search volume. I'm going to put a minimum of around 500, and I'm going to see how much that breaks it down. We want to see around like our top 10 to 15 keywords. Okay, great. We literally got 13 right there. So now we have 13 keywords. Now I'm going to look at what keyword it has the most search volume. Face down pillow. That is searched around almost 3,000 times per month. I can see the keyword sales around 208. Now, studies have shown that around 80 to 90% of keyword sales, that 80 to 90% of sales for a keyword are contributed to the first page of Amazon, more so specifically the top half of Amazon. So if we look at the organic rank for that this product shows up for on Amazon, it's 3, meaning that they're like the top 5 organic positionings. So we know for sure that the majority of sales for this keyword is going to directly this product, face down pillow. They even have that in their title. It's the very first keyword that they have, which shows that they are aware of that as well. But what I want to see, at least from a product opportunity standpoint, is are they the biggest player? Are there other products like this that maybe they've already solved the issue behind quality and deflating air, and maybe they have a better product? So I want to confirm, is there already a better product? And this just happens to be just a poor product that does 10,000, but there's already a better product that's doing 25,000 or something like that, right? So I'm going to click on this little arrow here. And what's going to do is going to search it in Amazon. So now I can see, all right, cool. These positions right here are sponsored products. I can see that for the top 4 sponsored products right here, which are advertisements, none of them are products that look like this. Okay, cool. But I can see that the top 2 organic positions, meaning that the top 2 positions top 2 positions for products that are showing up for keywords that drive their sales, are products that look like this. So clearly, if I were to advertise a product like this, I'm probably going to be able to get that sponsored positioning and show up higher than these organic ones. But for whatever reason, these competitors are not advertising for their product. Right away, I can see that this is the same product that we're looking at right here. The same guy that's laying down right here, right? So I can see he's organic rank 2, but now I'm trying to see what are some of the other competition. I can see that this person, it seems like that's not like an inflatable one, but more so it's just like an actual pillow that has some sort of probably like cotton or packaging in it. They sell it for a lot higher, but it's like 3.3 stars out of 5. Okay, that doesn't seem too great. Okay, I see another one. It's at $40, 3 stars out of 5. Okay, that's not great. $41, 3.15 stars out, 3.1 stars out of 5. Clearly, I can tell. Even this one, $56, just barely a 4, but it's the most highest price point there. So I can see that they're probably not getting that many sales. So just right off the bat, I can see that there's certainly a quality issue that for whatever reason, these sellers have not figured out. And I don't know if you've noticed already, but it kind of seems like these are all the same people. The people in the white t-shirt, they have the light complexion, they have the blue product. I'm pretty sure this is like similar images, which shows that they're using images from the manufacturer instead of taking their own images that are probably going to be a lot better for this type of product. So what we can do now in order to help us understand, all right, what's the competition looking like? Let's see what are the sales between our competition. So that's where we're going to click on the Helium 10 Chrome extension right here. And we're going to click on X-ray, which allows us to see the sales in the search results. So we click on that, it's going to load that data. I'm going to go ahead and unfilter for, I don't want to see any sponsored products. I want to see products that organically show up for these keywords because the sales are driving their placement instead of people who are paying to show up on there. And reply that. And then I'm going to sort by sales. I want to see some of the top sales for these products and see where they're at. So within here, I want to see products that look like the product that I'm looking at here. Okay, this looks like the product that, or a similar type of product. They're doing around 400 sales per month, around 20 grand in revenue. That's pretty crazy. If you look at the ratings that they have, it's only 3.3 and 177 reviews. That's pretty low. 3.3, 177 reviews. You can do around 20 grand. Looking at this other one, this is the one that we were looking at, is 2.9 to only 232 reviews, and they're doing around 10 grand in Amazon. Okay, let's look at some of the ones that have like really low reviews. This one, it only has around, it's priced at $41.69. Only it's doing around 6 grand per month on Amazon right there. 6 grand per month. Only has around what, 16 reviews, 3.1 ratings. 16 reviews, that takes you maybe what, like 2 months to achieve. Does that mean, so theoretically, you're selling this type of product in 2 months. If you sell a high quality, good product in 2 months, you could be making 6 grand per month in revenue. That's pretty awesome, in my opinion. So then we're looking at this other one. I think this is the last type of other product here. Also 6 grand, almost around 5 grand and a half, right? Let's look at the reviews. They have only 15 reviews. So it looks like they're maybe going towards the quality route, but still 4.0, an ideal area to be for ratings is on average around 4.4 or higher, truly. And so right away, we can see one, that these are products that are getting a decent amount of revenue. Nobody's going to hate having an extra 5K in revenue per month for this product, but also the fact that one, it doesn't look like they're advertising. 2, it looks like most of them haven't achieved the quality or the issue with deflating air. 4, it shows that they're all look the same. So if you're able to make your product pop with better imagery or a better design, or even having a better different type of color or different type of material, you have massive opportunity to compete here. And the last thing is that there's clearly not a lot of people that have hopped on to this idea that, hey, there are people selling this product. There's only maybe 4 competitors that maybe 5 competitors you'd be competing with for this face down pillow that's specific, like the whole body type of thing, instead of like one that goes around your neck. But so you definitely have opportunity to take away market share in this area. So love to see that. That's definitely something that I would consider to be product opportunity, and is really one that I would would at least justify me exploring this further, going to find a manufacturer on Alibaba or something like that, and trying and going the next step in exploring this product.
All right, thank you very much, Lem. I think we will not release this video. It's a good product opportunity to sell on Amazon. And one question when I see all this data which you show on the screen, how accurate is this information which Helium 10 provides? Why should we trust it?
So that's a great question. And so while Helium 10 is not going to 100% to the T nail it down to the accurate estimation, we have done studies that show that we are the most accurate. We do provide the most accurate estimations out there within the Amazon software market. And because Helium 10 does have the largest historical database, or largest database in terms of historical data, that in the past, Amazon used to provide information that gave sales based on your sales rank and things of that nature. We have the largest kind of like stockpile of that data that our algorithm is completely based on, and people way smarter than me have figured out how to use that information to be able to make super incredibly accurate estimates such as this. And so when you have a super smart team like ourselves, we're the most accurate tool out there, and we have the largest historical database in terms of that type of data. That seems to be a pretty good route to take when looking at a tool that's accurate like Helium 10 and being able to trust us.
And you already talked a little bit, how much does it cost to start selling on Amazon? Could you give us, like, let's say 3 scenarios? What could be the timeline if you start with like $1,000, with, I don't know, like 5,000, and let's say if you have 30,000, like what's the difference?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if you have each of those have different levels of patience and understanding that, like, hey, if you really feel like you got a home run product, you got a really great product, having to be willing to accept the fact that if I start with $1,000, it's going to take me time to scale. If I'm waiting to start with $1,000, get product, sell it, send it to Amazon, usually even the process to, regardless of your budget, to find a manufacturer, negotiate with the manufacturer, get that product made, have it shipped to you if you're getting shipped from China or wherever. That usually takes between 90 to 120 days, or just based on shipping rates and, like, of course, the current market right now. It used to be 60 to 90. So just roughly, it's going to be around like 60 to 90, 60 to 120, depending on the country you're shipping from. But understanding that timeline alone, and then when you sell through that product and you're waiting for extra capital to come in, you then have to like restart that process, right? Being able to reinvest that capital into it. So it takes a really long time. And if you run out inventory while you're doing well, it is one of the, and I mean this with complete generosity, is one of the worst things you can do for your business is to run out inventory for a product that's selling well, because your sales rank is going to decline, and Amazon's just going to see that as if your product is failing, instead of, oh no, I just ran out of inventory, I just need to come back more. Because then when you stock back in with inventory, it's not like, oh, you just start from where you left off and you just keep on going. No, you have to make up for the fact of inventory. And I've heard the anecdote that sellers use is that for every day of inventory you are out, you have to make up for it with 2 days of sales. So let's say you're out of inventory for 30 days, which will probably be the function if you start with a low budget or low amount of capital. It's going to take 60 days to even get back to where you were at, right? Usually 10,000 or 5,000 to 10,000 is a good area to start with, because then you can balance that process of getting sales and then reordering more inventory, especially if your product's doing well, which it should, if you've done your research and your due diligence, and then not running out inventory. And then if you start with 30,000, it's not necessarily increasing your timeline, but you have the ability to take on more risk, which, of course, if you take on more risk, there's potential for it to fail or be more likely to fail, but there's also potential for it to really have high amounts of reward, right? It's like investing. If you have higher risk, the reason why there's higher risk is because there's higher reward, right? So you have the leniency or ability to be able to do that. But that's definitely things you need to keep in mind when you have budgets of varying levels.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much. And I really liked your presentation, how you went very smoothly from the black box tool to Cerebro. We found the keywords and then we used the X-ray and also review analyzer. It's really nice. It was super clear. Thank you very much. And those who are watching, if you want to try Helium 10, you'll find the discount codes below. So you can start with a discount. And also you can start using Helium 10 for free with a limited possibilities, but still you can like click around and see how it works.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Lem, and those who are coming to Las Vegas to Sell and Scale Summit by Helium 10. Don't forget to check the link below also to learn more about this big event Helium 10 is organizing. And some of you probably you will meet Lem as well if Lem is going there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be there. Feel free to come up to me and say hi.
All right. Thank you very much, Lem, and good luck in your business. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
I personally really enjoyed this walkthrough by Lem of how to use a couple of Helium 10's tools in order to find really good physical product opportunities, which we could sell on Amazon Marketplace. If you would like to sign up and try Helium 10 for yourself, check the links below in the description. Also below you'll find 2 coupon codes, which is Orange 10 will give you 10% off monthly subscription, and the Orange 50 gives you 50% of the first month. And also below in the description you will find a link to the Sell and Scale Summit, which Helium 10 is organizing, and the first one is happening in September 2022. Also check for the discount code for this event, which gives you $100 off the conference ticket. And now I would like to invite you to watch other video with Bradley Sutton from Helium 10, where he goes through how to use Cerebro. They are one of the most popular tools for keyword research.